Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community, and multiple people have awared me of this fact. They all gave their opinions, wanted me to chime in on the fact that ScottHermanFitness is finally promoting full body training and doing it himself. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Alright guys, I'm a very fair person. You guys know me. I will take people that I've disagreed with on certain points, and if they say something good or do something smart, I'll give credit for that. If they achieve something, I'll give credit for that. That doesn't mean the other stuff they said is right. And you know, Scott Herman's one of these guys that he kind of, I thought it was interesting. He came in my comments on a video I made a while back, and he said, "Why are you singling me out? Why are you picking on me?" And it's like, if you say stupid shit, man, I'm going to call you out on it. What do you want me to do, bro? You're promoting above the knee rack pulls. I mean, I'm sorry, that's about the most stupid trend the last couple of years. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous from a physiology perspective, the recovery perspective, everything else. It's just flat stupid. Now, that doesn't mean everything Scott does is wrong, because I mean, like I said a while back, he made a video promoting what he thought the most important exercises were. I did a review of that video, and I said, you know what, he's actually right. I think this is a great list. It's a comprehensive list. It's better than what most of these ass clowns are doing on YouTube, who are just pinning a bunch of trend to build their physiques and doing a bunch of fluff and pump, right? Because you guys know that's my thing, man. I'm against fluff and pump, and I'm against people playing leapfrog and grab ass in the gym. Let's be realistic here. And you know, the same thing, I gave him credit before when he came out and said he was going to try to get to, what was it, a 450 or 500 beltless deadlift. I'm like, you know, that's a good goal. That's a worthy goal. I think you should do it. I hope you do it. I'd like to see you do it. That would be a great thing. But no, I'm always going to dog on him for above the knee rack pulls, and that's kind of the funny thing. You know, he's jumped over to full body training. I noticed in the comments, because people had linked me the video, there are people giving Alex Alpha Destiny, Strap On Destiny credit for this. He's like, yeah, I'm using some of his methods, and it's like, yeah, but you're using his stupid methods that don't work too, Scott. Now, that being said, what people need to realize here, for anyone who has forgotten, and that's where people forget, long-term followers here realize, a lot of this stuff like the full body and everything, a lot of these things that you guys hear Alex saying he got from me. Some of his books, some of his paragraphs are direct quotes from my videos in some of his books, like his introductions and stuff. People forget, Alpha Destiny used to follow my channel. When he had like 3,000 subscribers, he followed my channel every day, and he used to comment for about a year. He probably commented almost every day in my comments of my videos. That meant that for a year straight, he watched every single video I made. He was definitely a disciple of mine before he went to the dark side of all of this extreme accommodating resistance and partials and all this other silly shit. He was definitely a Blaha disciple. And again, it's all there. Anyone can go back to the old videos and look at the comments. He made hundreds of comments in my old videos a few years back, right? This is common knowledge to anyone who was around and watched. They remember. It's all in there. Guys, I've been promoting full body forever. I have been promoting full body the entire time I've been on YouTube. I've been promoting it on here for 6 years. I am the one guy on here who has promoted it consistently. Hell, the only time I've deviated away from it was when I talked about a movement pattern split and what I was calling lift mastery. And what I mean by lift mastery, that's where, you know, these, like, you come in like 4 different days a week and you focus on one exercise for like an hour. And I mean a big movement. So like I would come in and say, hey, you know, come in and do 10 sets of heavy squat one day, 10 sets of heavy bench press another, 10 sets of heavy deadlift another, 10 heavy sets of overhead press another day, and maybe throw in a little stuff afterwards. But those tend to be almost full body workouts, because I mean, if you're doing 10 sets of squats or 10 sets of deadlifts or 10 sets of standing presses in a day, plus you throw anything else in, that's pretty well close to a full body workout. Movement pattern based. It's like lift mastery. But I've always promoted the full body. Now, what does Scott say about it that he really gets right? He does bring up the points. He said, you know, the other day he discussed muscle protein synthesis uptime. I'm assuming he did. He may have got that from Alex, or Alex used to talk about it from my stuff all the time. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm the only source of it. I'm by no means even close to the only source of this. But yeah, the whole idea that a muscle only grows for about, at most, about 48 hours after you train it. So by doing full body, because every time you're in the gym, you're training your whole body, and if you're training your full body, you know, at least close to once every 48 hours, you are ensuring the most potential for growth time every week. Does that mean you're going to gain the most muscle? No, but you're going to have the potential to gain the most muscle. Again, assuming you've disrupted homeostasis frequently enough. Also, he talked about you seem to do more total work. You end up working harder because you're having to focus on just a few sets of each lift and then come back and do it again on these big lifts. That, you know, your strength just seems to go up and you seem to lift more total weight. Yeah, that's also true. I want guys to think about that. When you start thinking about accumulating fatigue and total tonnage, because we know tonnage, that's part of your volume, guys. Volume isn't reps and sets. Volume, if you want to be realistic about what volume is on an exercise, it's really reps, sets, weights, range of motion. I mean, if you wanted to go multiply it, it'd be those four factors multiplied times each other. That's really kind of what your workload is. It's, you know, how many sets you did, how many reps you did it for, how much weight did you move, and how far did you move it, right? That's where the silly partial guys get it all messed up. That's realistically though what your training volume is and your training tonnage. Well, let's look at it this way, and he's right. And I've said this many times years ago, if you're going to barbell squat, let's say you're planning on doing 9 sets of barbell squats a week. I know that's an odd number, but it works for the 3-day-a-week full body. Now, I do 5-day-a-week full body myself right now. You guys know that. I squat, bench, deadlift, do weighted pull-ups, weighted dips, Monday through Friday. That's what I'm currently doing. Occasionally throw in a little bit of other stuff, face pulls or whatever. But those are of secondary importance. But if you do 9 sets of squats, even if you take 5 minutes between every set, right? Let's say you do an hour-long squat workout. 9 sets of squats, and you take that versus the weight you can use for doing 3 sets Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Are you going to move more total weight doing them in one session, or are you going to move it over 3? You're going to do more in 3. Because what you're going to find is that the weight you could use for the first 3 sets, if you do 9, you're going to have to seriously pace yourself. You're going to end up pulling 10% or more off the bar as you try to get near the end, as you start to get fatigued. Whereas, and if you spaced them out, you might be doing your 315 for 3 sets of 5. You might be able to replicate that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But if you're forced to do all of it in one day and do 9 sets of 5 just on Monday as your squat day, you are probably going to use less weight. You might only end up using 275, 285, something like that to get through all 9 sets. Or you're going to have to start heavy and really reduce as you go. And you might end up being down at 265 by the time you get to that 8th or 9th set. So the difference is, yeah, in tonnage is enormous. Those are the biggest differences. It's about total workload. It's about muscle protein synthesis uptime. And then that's the other point. It's kind of like, I'm surprised. And this is where some people were critical of him, at least in the comments. Like, it took him this long to figure this out. How many years has he been training? Naturals tend to do a little better on full body training. It makes more sense. The whole extreme split situation really is for guys on a ton of gear. And it's not saying you can't make gains doing it. But again, full body workouts tend to be a little better for people who are completely drug free. And the exception being maybe when they need to do some sort of movement pattern split once they're very advanced. Again, we could argue about that all day long, but the majority of natural lifters are going to get better progress on full body. The majority. Anyway, you break that down, because the majority are not at that super advanced level yet. So, he pointed out, you do have to kind of focus on the bigger movements. That's right, because you have to get through your whole body in the workout. And it's what he realized, it's correctly realized years ago, actually like it was last year or so, that these big movements are really where you get the most muscle from. They really are. They really are. I think the only thing he threw in that wasn't a big movement in his suggested list was curls. Because everyone wants to do their curls. You're not going to convince people they don't need curls. It's just impossible to do that these days. Best of luck to you. So everyone's going to do curls. So you have to focus on the big movements. I mean, and realistically you do, because you don't have room. If you're going to come in and let's say you're going to do an hour and a half long full body workout on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you're trying to train your whole body, you don't have room for a lot of fluff and pump. You really don't. There's not much room for it. You are almost forced to pick the exercises that recruit the most muscle mass. You can do one whole movement, then go to another movement, and to realistically hit your whole body, you are more or less forced to do bigger exercises. Well, bigger exercises put more muscle on you. And it kind of goes back to that same point. A muscle doesn't really care entirely what movement you do. It just cares about the tension. It cares about the joint angles, cares about the workload you subject it to. If you do a bunch of bigger movements just to make sure you hit your full body, you are stimulating growth in the full body. And the more frequently you do that, if you keep your muscle protein synthesis elevated, you tend to make more gains. Also, because you're focusing on big movements that incorporate a lot of different muscles and usually picking variations that recruit more muscles, you're training your body to recruit muscle fibers in a functional pattern to use different body parts at the same time. You do get stronger, and that strength carries over to, there's a synergy between the different lifts, and the fact that you tend to just get stronger in general allows you to create more workload on every set, thus stimulate more adaptation. Right? The training style itself tends to push you into the direction of using bigger movements because you're trying to train your entire body. Because of the way you split it up, you usually end up lifting a little more weight, even if you have rep and set goals for the week. And the end result tends to be more total stimulation. Yeah, it worked. He's right. He's right. At least that's my interpretation of it. And that's the stuff I'll agree with. And, you know, a lot of people are like, well, you should be critical of the fact that it took him this long to come around. It's like, there's something to be said for that, but at least he's coming around to it. I just hope that he sticks to it, because he's now come up and said that he's surprised the gains have been amazing. He's surprised how much stronger he's getting, how fast he's regaining strength, and he's talking about all these benefits he's experiencing from full body. Well, let's hope he doesn't just change his mind. I'm hoping he sticks this out and understands that this is the way the majority of his followers need to be training, because he doesn't have any super advanced followers. I promise you there's almost nobody in his following. There might be a few who are legitimately, truly advanced or elite lifters who might need to deviate from this. The majority of people aren't at that point. I don't even consider myself at this point to be not in that category at the moment. Right? I don't even consider myself to be in that category for this moment. You guys see what I lift. You guys have seen my DEXA scan fat-free mass. I'm training full body still. I'm training full body right now. And I think for the majority of people, it's the way to go. I'm hoping he continues to promote this for the sake of his audience, because they'll get better results. They'll get better results with this than they will on a body part split. Let's just be realistic. So I'm actually kind of glad he's promoting it, irrespective of if he didn't in the past, and we can make fun of the fact that he took him this long. All right, let's set that aside. At least he's doing it. I hope he sticks it out. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.